Well, hey there, everybody. Thanks for being here with us today on Cinema Recap. Glad to have you here. So, we're going to go ahead and check out the horror comedy film called Happy Death Day. Spoilers ahead. We open up on a dorm room with our hungover main character, the Blake Lively look-alike Teresa Tree Geldman, waking up and looking a little spaced out. And we've all had a hangover before, and definitely a night that we all regret. The following scene is pretty much a perfect depiction of that. There's confusion. There's awkward conversation with the guy who she went home with. There's realizing you have no clothes on. The headache that ensues the moment you try and stand. The annoying roommate who walks in, says something stupid, embarrassing everyone. The dorm has it all. Oh, and a little awkward morning chat just to round it all out.
I folded your pants last night and I wasn't sure if that material gets wrinkled.
Jeez. A few things to note though. The guy here is called Carter, who seems like a pretty nice guy, and is just innocent and charming enough that he's probably gonna get a few key scenes later. There's also this ringtone. We're gonna be hearing that a lot during this movie. And in case you missed it, it's Tree's birthday. Tree flees the room as soon as she's physically able, and what follows is your classic walk of shame across the school grounds. Now pay attention here. This is a day repeats itself movie, which means that we're about to get some awesome visual cues that'll pop up each morning to remind us that the day's in repeat. There's a creepy guy checking her out, this overenthusiastic protester who Tree happily ignores. There are sprinklers turning on and a cute couple getting hosed. A car alarm goes off. A group of sad-looking pledges being tortured and, oh, there's one that passes out as she walks past. And finally, we have Tim. Like a true creep, he pops up out of nowhere starting to accuse Tree of not returning his calls. She cuts him down to size and makes sure to really hurt him with this final line.
I mean, who takes their first date to Subway?
Damn. Is Tree the one we're supposed to be rooting for? Not really too sure. From there, Tree goes back to her sorority. The first person she speaks with is one of her sisters, Danielle. If you want to know what kind of person Danielle is, well, here's her opening line.
You sneaky little biatch.
But don't hold it against her. She's just mad at her because Tree hooked up with a guy she likes last night right in front of her. Man, are we sure Tree's the hero? We are. Oh, okay. Yeah, if you say so. In her room now, we meet Tree's roommate, Lori. Lori seems nice enough, if not a little judgmental about how Tree has chosen to spend her days and nights.
She finally rolls in.
But she also seems like a sweet girl. And she even baked Tree a cupcake for her birthday. Oh yeah, apparently Tree hates people knowing that it's her birthday. But there's a reason for that, and we'll get to it later. Back to the cupcake, one that Tree's gonna probably eat and enjoy and thank Lori.
I made that from scratch. Sorry, too many carbs.
Alrighty, who's rooting for Tree to get killed? From there, Tree heads to class, and we get a sneak preview of her hunky professor, Gregory. Well, he's too handsome to be an extra, so he's probably gonna appear a little later on. Next up, Tree has a lunch meeting with some other gals from the sorority. A few things to note here. One is a random sorority sister who gets dressed down for daring to come to a lunch meeting with lunch. How dare she? The other is Carter, making the perfect entrance, spilling chocolate milk all over Tree. Well done, bro. He's there for a good reason, though. See, Tree left a bracelet in his room, and he's just dropping it off. It's pretty nice of him, actually. But that doesn't save him from the wrath of the sorority sisters.
What a douchebag.
Now, just in case we needed another reason to not root for Tree. The next scene sees her in the office of her hunky professor, and yeah, the two are having an affair, cheating on his wife. And yeah, Tree knows, doesn't really care. Tell you what, this Tree girl is in some serious need of a character arc right about now. Now later that night, things start to get interesting. She's on her way to a party when she comes across a music box in the middle of a tunnel playing the happy birthday song. Unfortunately for her, this is no prank. She checks out that box when she spots this creepy guy in a baby's mask watching her. She shouts at him. He runs off. She thinks the nightmare's over, and the next thing she knows, he's chasing her through the grounds. This chase lasts all of 2 minutes though, and a second later we all get our wish. Tree, the evil heroine we've been following, gets her just desserts and is knifed to death. Oh, thank God, good riddance and good... Oh wait, nope, sorry, she's alive again. Despite being brutally stabbed, she woke up in the same dorm room from the start of the movie, in the exact same circumstance. Got a Groundhog Day situation here, folks. Not that Tree seems to notice. I mean, she looks confused by what is happening, but not the kind of confused you might be when you wake up on the same day as you did yesterday, after getting brutally stabbed. Clearly, her memory's a little hazy. And indeed, that scene plays out, and we notice Tree being kind of aware that she's been here before, but not really too sure.
Oh, my head is killing me. Do you have any Tylenol? Oh, it's over there. It's under your clothes on...
Looks like you've been here before.
Naturally, Tree's a little confused. This confusion mounts as she walks outside, and we hit all those same visual cues from the first time. There's the creepy guy, check. Protester, check. Sprinklers, check. Happy couple, car alarm, pledgers, check, check, and check. Oh, and of course the creep Tim, who Tree again dismisses. But in her defense this time, she probably has a little more to worry about than your run-of-the-mill stalker. It's when Tree's having her sorority lunch that she finally starts to catch on to the possibility that this day's in repeat. Carter turns up again, and again knocks that chocolate milk all over her. Only this time he tries to leave and she stops him, asking for the bracelet. It's almost an automatic gesture, and it has Tree just a little concerned.
What a douchebag.
I just had to get that in there again. Not that Tree cares. Freaking out now, she pays a visit to her hunky professor and tries to tell him what's going on. But all he cares about is smooching, which he gets right into until his wife almost catches him again. A moment here as Tree watches a video on her phone. It's her and her mom eating birthday cake. And now we start to get a sense of why Tree isn't so big on birthdays. But enough of that. Tonight, there's a big party at some frat house, and Danielle wants to make sure Tree's going, which she does. Only on the way there, she gets a little freaked out by this guy. And when she reaches that tunnel, she does the smart thing and just goes the other way. Hey, character in a horror movie making a smart decision, who would have guessed? She arrives at the house party only to learn that it's a surprise party for her. As one would expect, the threat of death and days repeating themselves are quickly forgotten as Tree starts up drinking and celebrating. Even better, this sexy frat boy Nick clearly has the hots for her. And they flirt a little.
You can make it up to me later.
And soon she follows him upstairs, ignoring the fact that Danielle likes this guy too. Remember, Tree's a bad person, but all this is part of her arc. Once she gets upstairs in the room, Nick wants to get down to business. And you know what that means. That's right. Dancing. Seriously though, this guy's idea of seducing Tree is to utter this immortal line.
Welcome to the Pleasure Dome.
Admire his dance moves while you can, because pretty soon that same killer from before is pummeling him to death. A good riddance, I'd say. But then he turns his sights on poor Tree again, and although she puts up an admirable effort in fighting him off, the end result is sadly predictable. This time, when Tree wakes up, she's appropriately freaked out.
Is everything okay?
Obviously not, Carter. Her phone goes off. Tree sees it's her birthday again, and she's in the same dorm, and that she's seeing Carter for the third day straight. Well, she flees the room in a panic. Back at the dorm now, she confesses to her roommate Lori that things are, well, getting kinda weird.
I know this isn't gonna make any sense, but I have already lived through this day.
Lori doesn't believe her, but considering how hysterical she is, and what she's saying, you really can't blame her. But Tree's not gonna let that stop her. She stays home that day and decides to spend the night locked indoors. Literally. She hammers that wood across the frame of her windows and doors and traps herself inside.
So you get in here now, asshole.
Bad news for you, girl. The killer's either David Blaine or just really good at picking locks, because he breaks in. And although Tree again tries her darned best at fighting him off, the result is much the same. She gets murdered, wakes up the next morning in Carter's room, screaming her head off for all to hear. And as to Carter, yeah, he's probably regretting that one-night stand.
What's wrong? What's going on?
She runs out of that room and has a mild panic attack. But Carter proves himself to be a nice guy. He follows her out and she grabs a hold of him, begging for help. We cut to a diner, where Tree has just finished explaining everything to Carter. In his defense, he doesn't use this really great chance to say goodbye and never see Tree again. Instead, he opts to help her. He starts by asking if there's anything special about this day. And although Tree says that there isn't, her ringtone gives it up right away.
It's symbolic. Whoever's killing you knows it's your birthday.
But she tells him that everyone knows today's her birthday. But no problems. Carter suggests making a list of all the people who might have motive. Too bad though that he doesn't realize Tree is an awful person. And everyone she's ever met probably has motive.
The Uber driver that I spit on last week, I think his name was... What? Nobody's perfect.
And this is another great chance for Carter to turn and run. He's done enough. But again, he wants to be the good guy, and once you know it, he even has a plan.
The way I see it is you have unlimited amount of lives, so you have unlimited opportunities to solve your own murder.
That's your genius plan.
It's not a good plan, but it's a plan. Huh, that's your genius plan. You know, to be honest, it's not the worst idea, and pretty soon, Tree's getting on board. What follows now is a montage of detective work and death, as Tree tries to eliminate all possible killers from her list of suspects. There's Ian, the creep, who she soon learns is actually gay. There's this girl here, whose boyfriend I think had an affair with Tree. There's her sorority sister who, you know what, it's a group of people who Tree has wronged, but none of which are like really serial killer material. And as she ticks them off her list one by one, she finishes the night by getting murdered once again. But it's not all bad. We see Tree starting to slowly come into herself here and even have a little fun with it. For example, what would you do if you woke up on the same day every single day? What? I know, right? I'd walk naked through campus. Coincidence, Tree does too. Unfortunately for Tree, it's not all fun and games. She wakes up one morning only to feel extraordinarily sick. And then she passes out in the dorm. When she comes to it, she's in the hospital, and nice guy Carter's there making sure she's alright. But then handsome Professor Gregory turns up and Carter's promptly kicked to the curb. The professor explains to her that she has internal hemorrhaging in her organs and serious signs of major trauma, which is why she feels so damn sick.
This is gonna sound crazy, but you should be dead.
Tree's naturally a little freaked out over this, but she also knows that she's a sitting duck in this hospital, so she needs to get out. She sends Greg on a vending machine run and then she makes a break for it. She goes to his office in a bid to steal his car keys, only to open something and find a baby mask inside. Ah, Greg's the killer. You know, I really didn't see that one coming. And, oh, wait, sorry, my mistake. A few moments later, we see Greg getting taken out by the real killer. Damn, we thought we solved that one. But the good news is that this gives Tree a chance to escape, which she does, making a break for the parking lot and then managing to get her hands on a car. She flees the scene.
I did it! Woo! Catch me now, bitch!
And as you might expect, is kinda chuffed about it. In all the excitement, Tree forgets to keep the car under the limit, and as a result, that cop pulls her over. But she sees this as a good thing and tries to get herself arrested.
I'm drunk, wasted, and I'm high. You know, pills, weed, you name it, man.
The cop takes the bait and is about to arrest her, but that's when we see how serious this killer is about taking Tree out. The killer sideswipes the cop in his own car, and then after, Tree locks herself inside the car so he can't get her, but he proceeds to blow it up with Tree inside. And this girl really just can't catch a break. By now, Tree's well and truly over it. After another minor freakout in front of Carter, she reveals to him that she's living the same day over and over again. Obviously, he doesn't believe her, till she shows her future telling powers by using those morning visual cues we've all come to remember so well. And this sees the two in that diner bonding once again. This time, however, the conversation is more aligned with Tree and what might be ailing her. Carter learns that not only is today Tree's birthday, but it was her mother's as well, until she died 3 years ago. There it is. This clearly still affects Tree a fair bit. But before we get too much into that, a news bulletin catches Tree's attention.
Can you turn that up, please?
It's about a local serial killer who's recently been captured and is currently being kept at the hospital. Not only is this dude a killer, but he really likes killing young blonde women. Tree realizes that the killer isn't someone after her specifically, but this guy, on a random killing spree that she had found herself in the middle of. So she arrives at the hospital, and once you know it, that killer has escaped. She screams a warning and she flees through the hospital, only to come face to face with the killer. Sort of. Wearing a baby mask, close enough. The two have a standoff, but Carter decides to try and be a hero. He gets in the way, gets his neck snapped because of it. Oh, now Tree's really mad. She manages to overpower the killer and is about to kill him when she realizes that if she does that, then Carter will remain dead. So with no choice, she kills herself in the most glorious way possible. Here, take a look. She wakes up the next morning and is relieved to see Carter's alive.
I can't believe you tried to save my life. Thank you so much.
Oh, he has no idea what she's on, but he accepts the hug anyway. Now, none of that matters because Tree has a plan. Before she gets to it though, she goes about righting a few wrongs. She warns the couple that the sprinklers are about to go off, catches the pledge who passes out with a pillow. She even outs Tim for him.
I know you don't like girls.
Now you go out there and get yourself a fine piece of man ass.
This is the new Tree we're seeing, one that has found herself in the middle of a redemption arc. And just to further hammer this point home, when she gets back to her room, she apologizes to her roommate, Lori, for being a genuinely terrible person to her. Oh, and then she breaks up with horny professor over here. After, she defends her sorority sisters against the evil Danielle. Then she tells Carter that she just likes him and wants to see him tomorrow. Seriously, she's ticking off all the redemption arc boxes in one go. And you know what? I've changed my mind too. I'm on Team Tree now. I really do hope she gets out of this one alive. Next up is her father, who Tree finally goes and visits for lunch.
This day is really hard for me. I miss Mom. I miss her so much.
It's a really sweet and touching moment, but by the time she's done, she's now ready to go and commit a little murder. But it's in self-defense, so, it's alright. She arrives at the hospital and gets off to a great start when she holds a knife to the security guard's throat and steals his gun. Then she tries to turn that gun on the sleeping prisoner, but sad news for her, the safety was on. Even sadder is that the prisoner had managed to get out of his bonds and immediately attack her. But this guy's a cocky sociopath, so he figures it'll be fun to taunt Tree before putting her down. This gives her a chance to overpower him, get the gun back, and then shoot him point blank in the chest several times. That's a double tap. Rule 2 for surviving Zombieland. With that done now, Tree decides to celebrate, which means a cute date with the boy she likes. She and Carter meet in her room, and they share that cupcake that Lori had tried to unsuccessfully give her a dozen times. And when Tree blows out that candle and makes a wish, you know what she's wishing for, right? And sure enough, the next day Tree wakes up to find out oh wait, yeah, my bad again. Same day, what the hell? Naturally, Tree's not happy about this, nor I. She freaks out as you might expect, and charges on back home in a state of panic. Well, Lori's there, and seeing Tree lose her mind right in front of her, she does what any good friend would do, and offers her a cupcake. Well, she turns that down, claiming that she already ate it the night before. And that's when it hits her.
I died in my sleep.
The cupcake was poisoned. Lori, Tree's roommate, was the one killing her this entire time. As to that serial killer who took Tree out, well, he was just a patsy that Lori was using to cover her ground. With him on the loose, no one would ever suspect another killer. It was a pretty good plan, and it would have definitely worked if it weren't for the convenience of her waking up each morning after being murdered. Talk about your lucky breaks. When Tree figures all this out, she has one natural question.
You've been killing me over some stupid guy?
And Lori tells her that it was more than that.
You're a dumb bitch, too!
Fair enough, I guess. The two hack it out, and the fight ends with Lori being launched from the window outside, smashing against the pavement and just scaring the pants off of some poor sorority girl. Later on, Tree and Carter are watching the news at their favorite diner. Carter, knowing how down and hurt Tree is, offers her a place to stay.
Now that your bedroom is officially a crime scene and all, where are you planning on crashing it?
Aw, how sweet. He just wants to get laid. The camera pulls back as the two continue to chat and flirt, and finally, it looks like Tree's life is back to normal. What's better is that she seems like she might be turning into a nice person once and for all. Even better still, the film chooses this moment to mention Groundhog Day.
Which Groundhog Day? The movie Groundhog Day?
Sorry.
How?
I don't know.
How do you sleep at night?
Which means tonight they're gonna watch a much better movie. Talk about a happy ending. And that was it, folks. Thanks for chilling with us on Happy Death Day. Produced by Blumhouse Productions, released back in 2017. Not for nothing, the movie did have a bunch of cool death scenes. Like way too many. So, which one was your favorite and why? Let us know with that hashtag Cinema Recap in the comments. And as always, till next time.